We're gonna go ahead and call this meeting to order. This is the practice committee. We do have quorum today, so we're good for there. Is there an on-site packet?
Madam Chair, there was an on-site packet, but our presenter for that information is unable to attend as of this morning.
Okay.
So she is asking to reschedule to June, so I put it on June's schedule.
Okay, that works. Any additions or revisions to the agenda? Not anything. Okay. Any announcements? Okay. Well, then in the packet is the minutes from the December 10th meeting. We will need a motion to approve those minutes. If you want to take a minute and look at those. And somebody would make a motion.
It was moved to approve the December 10th, 2024 minutes as written.
Okay, we have a motion. Do I have a second?
Second.
Okay, second. All of those in favor, say yes.
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 Any opposed? Okay, motion carries. Okay, we are going to move on to consent item agenda, the practice calls report.
So beginning on page 7 of your packet, you'll see the inquiries for practice related issues. We continue to see the question coming in about how to set up my practice and business and how to close my business and from licensees and from attorneys. So we're building those calls as best we can.
But do we feel like that the liaison tree thing that we came up with has been helping
I think so. I think so.
produce the numbers?
Uh-huh.
Okay. Okay, new regulation reviews process that is to be completed by this month.
Did you want to?
Yeah, we have a motion for the consent agenda.
Oh,
Well,
I thought this is still underneath that.
it is still.
They just have.
This just says practice.
Oh.
calls.
Okay, so it is separate.
You want me to do that?
That's fine.
It was moved to approve the consent item agenda, which included practice calls report.
Okay, we have a motion. Do we have a second?
Second.
Thank you. All right, we have a motion and a second. Any discussion? All those in favor say yes.
Yes.
Any opposed?
No.
Motion carried. Now. The new regulation review process. No, thank you. We have a review for final comments.
Beginning on page 9 in your packet to 26, this is the last of the, 27 that you had to review, so once these are approved for the final, then we're done. Yeah, good job.
Thank goodness. Everybody made it through. Did anybody see anything that needed addressed or any questions or anything like that? Hey, that one really big long motion.
Madam Chair, it was moved after regulation review to approve the following. KAR 60-7-101 licensure, KAR 60-7-102 duplicate of initial license, KAR 60-7-103 change of name, KAR 60-7104 reinstatement of license, KAR 60-7-105 standards of practice, KAR 60-7-108 inactive license, KAR 60-7-109 exempt license, KAR 60-7-110 expiration dates of licenses and applications, and KAR 60-7-111 reporting certain misdemeanor convictions.
Okay, we have a motion. Do we have a second?
Second.
Thank you. Any discussion? All those in favor say yes.
Yes.
Any opposed?
No.
Good on that one, it passes. And then on to unfinished business. Well, I bet. Well, let's make some new ones. Okay. So our presentation with the Kansas Midwives Alliance is the one that we'll be rescheduling. So we will move on to the presentation by Kansas School Nurse Organization. I believe she's on Zoom.
Angela Anderson, is on high, and you guys, the committee members, you have your draft guidelines for the medication administration in Kansas schools is in your packet, and I believe Angela will update us, because I think they've made some updates recently. Let Angela identify her, introduce yourself and everything.
Sure. I'm Angela Anderson. I'm the school nurse school nurses, a school nurses organization chapter president. And we've been working on updating our medication guidelines to reflect all the legislative changes that have occurred over the past few years, to be a better resource for our members. There was some order changes, so I'll have to kind of tell you where it's at now. I'll have to try to remember where it had been, but I have, see here, the main thing on the epinephrine kits in schools, page 17, roughly. I'm gonna jump to there. We made some changes because of the laws where pharmacists don't have to oversee those kits anymore. So we also updated a lot of our resources, anything newer that we could come up with. We included in this section about the epinephrine kits, because the law, the HB 2547, it now includes the wording, expands Kansas legislative allowing epinephrine kits in school to include albuterol, which we put on there. And so we just updated the statutes for that. And then your version does not have stock albuterol right after this. We had Dr. Paul Tehran, who kind of helped us, and he rightly so let us know that it needed to be moved to this section. So it was probably in your section. Should have printed this off for myself. It was a little further, probably around page 27, I believe, is what I had on that previously. Yes. Okay, 24, we went into adding information about student-specific emergency medication in the school setting, which is closer to page 20. After all it goes albuterol, first epinephrine, then albuterol. I'm sorry. I was hoping to get this to you sooner. Albuterol, epinephrine, albuterol, and then the naloxone, which are all allowed now in the public school setting, or in the school setting. So we have included those. The naloxone's on page 26. That was not in the previous edition that we had. We have some information after that about student-specific emergency medications, because we wanted to specify that how we handle student-specific emergency medications versus stock medications. Previously, in the previous editions that we've had, it had been required to keep all medications under lock and key, but now that we have emergency medications available and national guidelines is to have at least the student-specific emergency medication should still be somewhat controlled but accessible. So that way, if a nurse is not available, they can give albuterol and epinephrine to a student that has their own medication. But stock medication has to be available and accessible to any staff who's trained to be able to use that. So we have that reflected. in there. We kind of just moved some of the stuff around. We expanded the portion about albuterol that you don't have by Dr. Tehran's recommendation. We updated just some resources. Made sure we have the bills attached and a link directly to the bill in the document. Instead of going clear to the appendix, we have a link to that bill allowing epinephrine and albuterol stock medications accessible from that page. Other than that, we had minor wording, like on the complementary and alternative medications. We included recommending them to talk to, their prescribing doctor or specialist, and then they needed to follow school policy when they're allowed. But other than that, we've, let's see here, storage of medication. I reviewed that part. Other than that, we haven't made any major changes except for updated documents in the references to our constituents, so that way they can see updated guidelines and best practice forms, because the other ones were pre-2017. So we wanted just some newer recommendations on policies, etc. Oh, we also updated the delegation grid from KSBN to have the 2020, which is the newest that I'm aware of. Of course, we've been working on this for a couple years, so I don't know if you guys have had a new delegation grid that's come out since then. If so, I'll definitely update that. I think that's all I have to present. And if you have questions, I'd be happy to address any.
We do have a question from our videographer.
Okay.
Good afternoon. I did have a question, and I tried to review this ahead of time to see if I could answer my question. I think I may have, but maybe you could give me a more detailed answer. Has there been updates? Because a lot of there's more kids now who may have neurological issues, et cetera, have Mickey buttons and have either daily fluid boluses or medications given through those at different times as their primary administration site. And I didn't see, because a lot of times those fluid boluses or other medication boluses are done via device or pushed through the Mickey button. And I wonder what updates you had on that for newer administration requirements.
So we did not address that because it was not previously in there, and our team it was probably just an oversight. We had a medication administration delegation form that we updated that included that with some information about demonstrating the medication administration procedure, the delegation forms for that. But we did not do a lot of extra of that. And if that's something that you think we need to go back and do before we do this, we can sure work on that.
I think it'd be valuable to review it. That is a very common pediatric administration route these days, both for fluids. And then with the fluids comes the knowledge of the small pumps and things that go along with those for bolus administration. And then, proper use, cleaning, et cetera, of a Mickey Button as a primary source of administration, I think it'd be worthwhile to review. Cause, I know, personally, I have a grandchild that has that as a issue and does deal with it. And I've done some education for, the nurses up at Platte County and on the Missouri side. And it prompted me to bring it to the attention of the committee as well.
I'll have to check on our website. We may have, we may have some information separate about special procedures, which I'll have to look at. But I think it would probably, I agree, it would probably be beneficial at least to have a notation. And if we do have those resources, that we reflect that in this document.
Thank you.
Comments? We appreciate you hopping on and giving us an update.
Angela, this is Linda. Were you wanting to when was this gonna be finalized and ready for, the school nurses?
Well, we're hoping to have it ready for our July conference, which is the 22nd of July. I don't know if that's doable on, I mean, I think we can definitely work on getting this piece put together, and we can try to reschedule with you guys after that. Do you not have another meeting until June, it sounds like?
Yeah, June 10th. You said you had made some updates on the one that you had sent me, so do you want to send me the current one
Yeah, I can do that.
first, and maybe we can really peruse it and add some more questions? I also have Ruth Humbert, and she's come to the school nurse conference before, as one of my investigators, and so I will probably have her review it as well, because we get a lot of nurse questions.
Okay.
We may look at what questions have come in specific to school nursing and see, can we add those sections to, or a description or a resource or something for these school nurses to speak first before they call us, because maybe you're tied, kill two birds with one stone type thing. So
Right.
I'll have Ruth help me review that before June as well, but obviously if the committee could also review it.
Yeah.
Education and training, and Greg, if you've done training before, maybe the school nurse conference, maybe they want you in the future.
Great, and being able to show things, but pediatrics is not
for
mine.
you.
Come be volunteers.
Yeah. Volunteers.
Yeah, that's,
So, okay. Would you like to come back then in June for the June 10th committee meeting and kind of see where we're at that time?
Yeah, that would be great.
You tell there's a lot of work that's gone into this. You guys have done a really, really good
yeah,
job with
I
it.
thought it was very thorough.
Yeah, well, it makes more sense, the flow of it, after Dr. Turan had kind of helped us. Sometimes you're so busy looking at things and can't figure out where to move stuff around. So it was nice having that extra outside view.
Okay, well, we will look forward to seeing you in June.
Okay, go ahead and log off then if that's okay with you guys.
Thank you.
Yep, thank you.
Five-year legislative regulation review.
Yeah.
Sorry.
So
Yeah.
these are different from what we've done before, the legislative review. These are now, Greg, like in KAR 60-15-101, you wanted to add a definition of caregiving or basic caretaking. So now is the time that we would be doing those type of things. But Carol, I heard you in one committee say that you're talking to the board tomorrow about combining something, or is that just for that one committee?
Yeah, it's actually for all committees.
Okay.
Andy and I talked about some things,
Okay.
and so I was gonna talk about it tomorrow. So
Okay.
you may wanna hold off if you want to.
Yeah, so you can start, they're in your packet, you can start reviewing the language of them, but we're not gonna, we have till December's meeting to approve them, so we'll take direction from what the board kind of comes out with tomorrow. That helps, okay.
Because then if we're not doing double the work.
Yes, no.
Oh,
no. So, but then those are the regulations and statutes that are to this committee for review every 5 years, so.
Mhm.
um, There's no motions on those, I suppose, because we're gonna table them.
Okay, that's good. Then I guess we're on to choose the agenda for the meeting. So we'll have student nurse, organization back. Or school nurse, not student nurse. And then the midwife, and then we may have statute, yeah, the legislative review, depending on what happens tomorrow. All right, anything else that we know of that? Not that I know of coming down, okay. And so, yeah. That was a good chunk of our day.
That was, yeah.
So, okay, well, if there's nothing else, we're done, we will adjourn.
Thank you.
Thank you.